now as we transfer over to the Tulane Green Wave. First up, we're taking a look at the men. Head coach Ron Hunter in his 5th season. Last year, they went 20-11 overall, finishing 3rd in the American regular season. And this year, they're picked number 3 here in the American, looking to end a 28-year drought in the NCAA tournament. We're also joined by a special guest right here on the desk, Perry Clark, the former Tulane men's basketball coach and ESPN college football analyst. And we got the current.
Past president irrelevant.
I was just saying, I'm glad this segment was later in the day. We know Coach Hunter brings the energy. Coach, high expectations for your group this year. Why do you believe they can deliver?
Well, because we got the best coach that ever coached at Tulane sitting right here.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
Well, we got that established, and so you got number 2. So I feel better right now. But we're just looking forward to having a great opportunity to play this year. And you know, I'm really shy. This is hard for me to do this media stuff. I'll be honest with you. But so I'm gonna let Perry and you guys answer that, and I'll just sit here and
let me tell you something. This guy brings more energy, and in a city like New Orleans that feeds off of festive personalities, he fits right in there. And he's taking my place as knowing all the best restaurants too.
That's where I fit in. That's where I fit in. I can't catch him in the games, but fried chicken and potato salad and greens, I got him.
Well, we know you don't drink coffee, so it must be all that fried chicken. I don't know.
Someone offered me coffee out here, and you would think after 4 years of being in this league, they know I don't drink coffee, but if you offer me something else, I'd be happy to take it. So,
what can you say? Because look, your style is such a reflection of you, and that's ultimately what it should be, is it not? I mean, where do you feel like you could reel it in at times, and where are you more willing, maybe even more so than we understand, like where are you more willing to live with it?
Well, it's just trying to keep it simple. If you turn it over, you don't play for it. Period. Yeah. You know, again, you play hard, do all the right things, but if you turn it over, you're not going to play. Don't call your mama, your daddy. I can care less. You're not playing if you turn it over. Again, we want them to play freely, but freely means don't turn it over. I just don't believe in turn. Matter of fact, I have banned my son from eating for 5 straight days. He turned it over 4 times when he was in high school. He didn't eat for 5 days. We just, in my household, we don't like turnovers. We don't do turnovers.
All right, so we'll say freedom within the boundaries, right? Because that's all, like
freedom within the boundaries. I have never said that in my life. 36 years of coaching. If I said that to my guys, they wouldn't even know what I meant. See, you got to keep it real. Freedom. That sounds good. Freedom within my boundaries.
But if that's the case, what would you, so turn the basketball over is one. That's a boundary.
That's
right?
a boundary. Yeah.
So you say, what other boundaries? Because I feel like your players thrive when they're playing freely.
I'm gonna give you a great nugget. This you can use this in coaching clinics. This is a great coaching clinic deal. If you make shots for me, you're gonna play.
Yeah. Yep.
Just make shots. I mean, sometimes we try to make it over more, you know, all these great clinics and all these great speed. If you make shots, you're going to play. If you turn it over, you don't play, period. And they seem to kind of understand that. The best way to try to get to a kid is they all want to play. Yeah. If you make shots, you don't turn it over, you'll play. And if you don't, and I have favorites. I got favorite children. I got favorites. I got like Forbes was here. He's my favorite.
Yeah.
That guy down there that turned it over like 8 times in our last game, I'm starting to get to like him a little bit.
Who's a player on your team, Coach, that doesn't get enough recognition?
Sion James.
Oh.
Sion James is one of the smartest kids in the world. He's the only guy that I know. If he says something, he could be wrong, but he's so much smarter than I am. I just agree with him. He is a bright young man. I think one day he's going to be president of the United States. Yep. We can't win games without him. He's a coach on the floor, kind of a cliche deal, but just a great human and a great basketball player.
I want to go back there because Sion James is one of those guys that physically he gets attention.
Yeah.
But the layers beneath the surface are what we don't pay enough attention to. You talk about how great of a kid he is. That's obviously showing up in who he is as a player. But what else does he do? You talk coach on the floor. Yes, that's cliche. But that cliche speaks to about 50 other things. What can you speak to on a detailed level about him?
I think if there's a 50-50 ball, he's going to come up with it. Making the right play. If we need somebody to make that big free throw, if we need here's a closeout and we got to go guard that guy whether it's a shooter or not, he's going to make that right play. We change defenses sometimes inside of possession. He's the one that's going to call that. He's going to play 37, 38 minutes a game. I mean, you know how I play guys. He's going to be out there because I'd rather have a tired Sion and smart and understands how to do things than a guy that's fresh who thinks he can do those things.
Smart guys know how to hide themselves.
Oh yeah, so you know us guys that were 4.0s in college, we have our own language. You know, I never got a B in my life. It's just like Sion. I never got an A either.
It's that average, right? Not average.
Guy, you know?
Well, a guy who's not so average, Perry Clark. We know he's going to be inducted, a great and well-deserved honor into the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. Coach, to be able to have your name attached there with Tulane, just the significance, what does that mean for you?
Well, it means that my players really did a great job of working hard, building a great program. Ron has done a tremendous job of bringing the enthusiasm back in the city, the student body, the administration. And let me tell you something. He knows exactly what he's doing. Now, he'll give you a lot of curveballs and a lot of change-up, but he's got a fastball, and he knows where he wants it to go. And he's got this team right on line. But it was a tremendous honor. When I was at Tulane in the state of Louisiana, I love its basketball, and it's a tremendous honor to go into the Hall of Fame there.
But I want to ask you this because, you know, having you sitting here with Coach Hunter, like as a former player at places, all I have is hope for the program. It's not hope for the team as much as it's hope for the program. So what does Coach Hunter give you in terms of hope for the program as a whole?
Well, he's done a tremendous job. You know, one of the things that I look at, his players like playing for him.
Yeah.
And so he talks a whole lot about, I don't like this guy. I don't buy any of that because they play too hard.
It's like my 3-year-old son. I love him. I don't like him.
You know, but what I see is that he's embraced the community. What I see, he's embraced the young men that have come there and they work real hard. And that's the thing that I walk away because I have a love for Tulane and what the university provides, the opportunities for these young people. And he's taking advantage of that, and he's doing a tremendous job.
And he's also honoring the work that you did.
There's no question. You know, when you know, Coach was coaching when I was 2 years old. I've always looked up to Coach. You know?
See what I'm saying? Why do you throw him softball? You know he's going to smack. You've been around him long enough now. You know.
No, man, I grew up watching this guy, man. So I live in his honor, so I got to do well. But no, I tell you what, you know, when I first got the job, the first person I called was him because again, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. He won there, and I didn't want to talk to guys who didn't win there. I want to talk to guys, and so what we try to do is duplicate some of the things that he's done.
What is unique about that job that people outside of it don't really get?
It is a very unique place, and I think it starts with the city. I mean, you know, people come to New Orleans and they visit. New Orleans is a different kind of city. It's a different feel. It's a different environment, and you've got to buy into that. And if you don't buy into that, you're really going to struggle. And I don't think they've had bad coaches there before. I think they've had coaches in there that didn't buy into the city. If you look at Willie Fritz, what he's doing with football, he's done the same thing. Bought into the city. Perry bought into the city. Everyone in that city still knows Perry. And if you don't buy into New Orleans, it won't work. And so I love being there. It fits everything that I do. I love the city. I love everything about it. And so for me, it's been a perfect place.
And if he would get a little bit more personality, it would really take off. That's what I think.
Hey, you know what? I got to talk. No one's invited me on a float. All the parades they got in that town. I have never. New Orleans.
You're playing games.
I don't care.
This is Ron Hunter's pitch right here.
Please listen. I know there's 2 people listening in the city of New Orleans. Get me on one of those floats. I swear, if you get me on a float, I'll give out free gear. I'll do whatever. I want to be on a float in Mardi Gras. I didn't even know what Mardi Gras was. Like I'd never heard of Mardi Gras. I want to be on a Mardi Gras float. I don't care if I'm playing SMU, UAB. I won't coach the game. I want to be on that float. Can you get that done for me?
I think you want to coach the game. I really think you want to coach the game.
Well, we're having way too much fun over here. We need to also hear, though, from one of your players, Jaylen Forbes. He is standing by right now with our very own Mike O'Donnell. Mike, take it away.
I'm not even close to being able to match that energy you guys got on over there. Not even close. Jaylen's put his head down 6 times and shaking his head during that entire speech and conversation. The first time you put your head down was when Coach said, hey, if you make shots, you're going to play. You put your head down, you start laughing. What's that about?
I mean, he didn't tell a lie there. I mean, you make shots, you'll be out on the floor, but if you turn it over, I promise you won't be out there no more than 2 minutes. It's just playing for Coach Hunter. You can tell just from that interview, he's a fun guy to be around. Not only be around, he's going to coach you hard 24/7. And you want to be able to play for a coach like that you can have fun with and then take care of business with at the same time.
I love it. You were the only unanimous selection on the first team ballot in the American Conference. I love watching your game. You and I were kind of geeking out about different players that we like watching film on. I mean, who's a guy that you really look to if you're into breaking down film and watching that and trying to steal secrets, because we all steal secrets from great players? Who is that for you?
I kind of got 3 players that I really just take stuff away from. On the offensive end, it's Kevin Durant and Kobe Bryant. I watch a lot of their film. Kobe Bryant is where I feel like I get the little slow pace and the little footwork from. So I feel like that's where a lot of my offensive game come from. And on the defensive end, Herb Jones. Talk to Herb a lot. It's just like my big brother.
So how did you get to know Herb Jones?
My freshman year, I was a freshman on the Alabama team. He was a junior then, and I was able to be there with him that year, and we just was close. And man, I had the transfer, and once I entered the portal, he was the first guy to text me. So we kept that same close relationship. And this morning, I just reposted that I was unanimous first all team, and he don't care nothing about it. He slid up on He slid up on my story, and the first thing he said was two-way. So one thing that we've been talking about 24/7 is me being a two-way player.
Well, that's a really great segue into the fact that your defense, in particular Tulane's defense, that amoeba matchup-like zone, very difficult to prepare for from opponent's standpoint, but also it's really hard to learn it right away. How is some of the new guys, anybody in particular standing out that you think is clicking, find that defensive identity?
I feel like all our guys that came on and caught on to the defense pretty well. I mean, we had games in China to where they actually got game reps, and so you see now we're practicing like veteran team. Like we don't even have any newcomers. Like we have all returners. So the defense is very hard to understand, but I mean we got smart players from top to bottom, and they picked up on it quick, and we're going to be very tough defensively.
Actually, sure. I read that Colby King, speaking of that overseas trip, speedy fast, but he led you guys in scoring too. Everybody talks about how fast he is. I mean, is that real? Is it fake? Or what's up?
Kobe is extremely fast. Catman, that'll be his nickname.
Catman. Okay.
Cats are usually fast, so yeah.
All right.
I mean, Kobe could get the ball, he's going in the blur. I'm talking about like coast to coast. I remember one play, he caught the ball on the outlet pass, 2-3 dribbles, did a blowout crossover, and went and dunked the ball down the middle. And I'm just like, I'm 6'4", and I don't dunk like that. So
glad he's in the backcourt with you.
Yeah, I'm glad he's in the backcourt with me. He's going to take a lot of weight off of our shoulders this year for sure.
Well, speaking of this year, 3 years ago, 10 wins. 2 years ago, 14 wins. Last season, 20 wins. So clearly the trajectory on the right path. I mean, where are you guys mindset-wise from a goals perspective on what you're expecting to do this season for Tulane basketball?
As you said, I mean, we've continually made progress since I've been here. Each and every year we've got better and better. And, I mean, coming off a 20-win season the only thing you can do better than that is win a championship. And so since the first day everybody got here in the summertime, all we've been talking about is, winning the championship. It's my last year of college basketball. I don't have a ring. I want to give myself a ring. I want to give my teammates a ring. And I want to give Coach Hunter a ring, and more important, the city of New Orleans. So winning the championship is for sure the main goal, for sure.
Appreciate your time, Jaylen. We didn't match the energy totally, but we got smooth like Kobe and KD with Jaylen and Forbes. Back at you, Morgan.
Thanks so much, Mike and Jaylen. And now we take a look at Mike O'Donnell's teams to watch and some dark horse teams that maybe could surprise. He has the top 3 teams in the coaches' preseason poll on there with Memphis, Florida Atlantic, and Tulane. And now for the women, we have head coach Lisa Stockton here in year 30 for the Green Wave. Tremendous career. Last season, they went 18-14. Overall, finishing 6th in the American, 7-9 in conference play, and picked to finish 6th here in the coaches poll this year. And we are now joined by the head coach on the set, Lisa Stockton. Coach, great to have you here with us. Year 30, what are the expectations that this year brings?
Oh, I mean, I think every year you're trying to win a trophy, and for us, I mean, it's exciting to have this new league and all these new members, and we're excited to get started.
It's crazy, Coach, because you spent time in Conference USA before, and now here come a couple more teams. So, knowing the competitiveness of that league and what they're bringing in, what are you most excited about seeing these 6 new teams join the league?
Well, it's been a little while since we've seen these teams, so I think for all of us, it's a guess at what each other has, But I think there's some great coaches with the teams coming in. I think we've got some great coaches in our current alignment, and it's going to be a really competitive year. And when you talk about what the rankings are, who knows what it's going to be, but. It's exciting.
Yeah, and it's great to see a coach at the same school for 30 years. And I know that's kind of become sort of your calling card, is to have that consistency there. But when you go out and recruit, and players can know, hey, I'm going to be here. This is the program that I built. So what is this Tulane team about to show us this year?
I'm excited about this group. I thought last year we had some of our returning players now had some great years. I mean, we shot the 3 ball really well last year. I think we've got some consistency coming back with them. I think we've got some newcomers that are going to come in and help us. And it's going to be exciting. We're going to run and we're going to shoot. And I think the one thing in practice that's hard for us is to count our threes.
So 30 years, I'm just like doing the math, and I'm thinking about growing up, how different the game is from when I grew up to how it is now. Shoot, I'm thinking about how different it was 5 years ago. The game changes, but so does the world around us. So how have you adapted the most? And maybe what areas have you had to adapt the most throughout your 30 years?
There's a lot, when you talk about how many different conferences we've been in or associated with, and the game has changed. I think the most important thing in coaching for a long time is that you have to keep up with what changes in the game, and I think you have to adapt your style. I mean, we don't run the same offense as we did 10 years ago, and I think you've got to adapt that. And in recruiting, I think that's something you really have to adapt, especially in the last few years. It's really changed a lot.
Coach, especially with the transfer portal, I mean, losing Dinah Jones, your leading scorer, she graduates, and then Rachel Hakes, you were able to bring her in a point guard. But now as you look at the new pieces you brought in, how do you expect them to mesh with what you have coming back?
Well, I think the thing we feel better about this year than we did last year is we know a lot what we have. But we did add in the transfer portal. We added Hannah Pratt, who her brother Michael is a pretty good quarterback for us. So that's a good linkage there. She's coming in from Columbia, who really had a great career there, and we brought in some pieces that are going to help, and I think they really complement each other well. So for us, I think this could be a really great year for us if we continue to grow like we're growing.
Marta Galick, one of those players who averages just about 12 points, 7 boards. So a player really contributes, in those key areas. So of your roster, you kind of look down. Is there anybody that's had some excellent practices to say, like, hey, you should also keep your eye on this person?
Well, I mean, I think you can't leave Kyron out. I mean, I think Kyron finished last year, and she finished up the year really well in the conference tournament. But, I'm going to go back to Hannah Pratt. I think you got a player there. She's 6'2". She's played the 5. She's played the 4. She's played the 3, and she can shoot it. So she's definitely going to be a big part of that. Just some other pieces. I think Kiki Middleton played really well for us. Got hurt last year, came back, and I think she'll play a big role. But I think we've got a lot of pieces we can move around to different positions. And as a coach, that's kind of fun. It's a little bit about chess. Yeah.
When you look back to the adaptability throughout the different conferences, in a way, does that help prepare you for what you're facing now with 6 new teams in the conference?
Well, I definitely think, being in a lot of different leagues, definitely you kind of know, I mean, you go into it and you really focus on our style and what we can do. And you do have to kind of figure out what do you need to do to win this league. Yeah. We're not looking at what do you need to do to win the NCAA tournament right now. We're what do we need to do to win this league? And I think you take that non-conference schedule and you try to figure that out. And, I think that makes it a lot of fun. Yeah.
What tell us, too, about just the recruiting around your area? I mean, Louisiana is certainly just a famous state for basketball in itself. Yeah. With the success of LSU and how they had, national championship, does that extend and help you in any way just because it's local and maybe gets the local girls playing more hoops?
Well, I mean, I think we've always had really good basketball in Louisiana. I mean, we certainly don't have the population of like a Texas, and I think the advantage for us is that Tulane being a national school, we're able to recruit locally, obviously, but we're also able to recruit in other places. And, I think the combination of those things, certainly the notoriety, I mean, at Louisiana Tech has been good in the past, and you got LSU really putting a lot of attention. I think the LSU factor probably helps more for our local media. Being excited about women's basketball than even recruiting, and that's been exciting. I mean, to see women's basketball on the front page is great, and I think we can feed off of that a little bit.
Yeah, just to speak on that a little bit more, 9.9 million viewers watch the finals.
Right.
30 years as a women's basketball head coach. There's been hype before. Has there ever been hype like this?
You know, I don't think so, and I definitely think the interest is there. I mean, social media exposure is at its height, and so that helps. But it's an exciting time for us, and I think you look at the WNBA and how well people are watching it, and I think that's great. And for us, I mean, I think the next 3 or 4 years is going to be really exciting.
Coach, for you last year to become the all-time winningest women's coach in the state of Louisiana, you come up with that accomplishment. Now we see Perry Clark, a former men's Tulane head coach, going into the Hall of Fame in the state of Louisiana. What does that say about just the overall athletic department, basketball at Tulane, and everything that you all have built to be able to achieve that type of success in this state?
Well, I'm really proud of what we've done at Tulane. I'm so lucky to have been there for so long. It's a special place, and I got the chance to work with Perry Clark for a while, and that was a lot of fun. And watching him build those teams, but I think it says a lot. I think Tulane is really sports. You sometimes get overshadowed by some of the big boys, but for us, I mean, I think we've been consistent, and that's. To me, in coaching, that's what it's all about. It's not one big year. I think it's what you do every year and what you put on the floor every year.
Coach Stockton, we're looking forward to seeing what you put on the floor this year. Thank you for taking the time to join us today, and best of luck to you and your ladies here this season.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
From a